Hi friends and family, my name is Michael Gore, and I'm making a video blog. You know, I'd like to make a bigger project, like a recovery project where we all get involved and help each other recover and battle things that have happened in my life, like recidivism, addiction, panic attacks that I didn't know if I would be able to survive, but once I did, man, they were a blessing. They changed my life for the better. And but if nothing else, I'm going to make this little video blog because someday I know how fast life goes. It's just flying by. And in 15 years, 10 years, I can look back at this and go, man, I was young. You know how we do that. And I just want to be able to look back at myself and see how far I've come on my journey. One thing is, I'm never going back to prison. I've spent most of my adult life in prison. I'm going to do everything in my power not to go back. I just can't do it no more, man. When I was younger, it seemed like I had the rest of my life, but now it's just, I'm 52 and it's just become reality, man. It's going by fast and time don't wait for no one, so I got a new view on life, and I just know that's important. The other thing is we don't come with an owner's manual, and so most of the time when we do things, we just go by what we've been taught, what we've heard, our best guesses, and we really don't understand how we work, and we don't even really care until something comes up that makes us want to care or know. And so what I'm going to do is I just want to talk about, over a period of time, how I had panic attacks, and it got me into meditation and yoga and working on myself, and it was just like a surreal experience, especially at first. I mean, I had all kinds of revelations and started seeing things in life, and you know, what a lot of people don't realize is everything we see is a projection. We're the projector. So when I started understanding myself, I started understanding life, because everything made sense, because I give meaning to life. You know, this is my universe. This is all we got. We're all a little walking universe. And so I also know that I want to explain a lot of things like yoga and meditation. When we understand how it works and the stuff, when we understand the physics and I don't know what you call it, just the way things work, when we understand what's going on, it empowers us. It allows us to use what's going on and to use the things and like just assist the process. So I'm going to talk about that. Panic attacks, man, I didn't think I'd ever survive, but they made me step out of myself, because when you're worried about having a panic attack, you don't care what anyone thinks of you. You don't care about things that you used to care about. You're just sitting there thinking about panic, and it made me step out of my box. It just crumbled my whole self-concept, and it's a good thing now, man. Back then it was a curse, but now it's been a blessing. And so I'm going to talk a lot about that, I think. And I know there's a lot of people that suffer from panic attacks, and I'm just excited about my recovery. There's a lot of guys and women out there sitting in prison right now, or that struggle with recidivism. And if that's you, man, hit me up and let's talk about it and help me. Let's do this all together. If you got something to say about recovery, you could teach me, or maybe I could teach you. I need a community, and I want to create a project. And another thing that's important to me is we all know someone we all don't, but a lot of us know someone that's sitting in jail or prison. And we don't think that they need anything, or we just don't think about them, out of sight, out of mind. It's just the way it is. But when you're in prison, you get a letter. Excuse me. When you get a letter, or someone hits you up, it means the world, man. It just makes you feel like you matter. And so I want to get it where I make it easy for people to look other people up. I want people that I know to start contacting their friends and family in prison, and just, you don't know what it means to people. And it'll be good for you too, because it's just, kindness begets kindness. What you put out, you get back. So that's something important I want to do. And people who are down and out, man, I want to be able to go out there and spread the word that there's something better in life, and just do it a little at a time. I help people out on the street the best I can. You know, I ain't got a lot of money, but I give when I trust my heart, and I try not to give to people I know are going to go spend on their addiction, but I also don't let that stop me, because it's not what they're going to spend it on. It's just the idea that you made them feel like they matter and that they're still worth something. And I pick and choose. You know, there's people out there you just see that are down and out, and you know that they feel. You can just tell that nobody's cared about them, or they don't. You know how it is. You know what I'm trying to say. So I want to make that an important part of everything I'm doing. And recently I threw my tarot cards and stuff away. I had to close that door. I'm a Christian, and I know that I can't walk on the fence. We've all seen confirmations, little coincidences and synchronicities. We know that God's real, and seems like the more I work with Him and do right, the more blessings He gives me. So I have been reaffirming my relationship with Jesus Christ, and I know the Holy Spirit lives in me, and He's changed me a lot, man. You don't even know. I believe the panic attacks were maybe sent by God to change me. I mean, for a lot of years, I would say I was a Christian, and I was, and I've always believed and had faith, but I didn't really think about it serious enough to make any of the real important changes in my attitudes and my behaviors and my thought life and my beliefs. And so these panic attacks, they made me step out of myself, and they made me start focusing on me with meditation and yoga, and that's what I needed, man, and it put me in the right direction, and it like cleaned me out a lot and cleared me up and allowed God to work in me. So I know that work's been a great deal, and I just want to talk about how we can all change. I mean, meditation and yoga are powerful. And you don't realize, whenever something happens, we take things in every day, but we're desensitized. Like, say you see a car wreck, you don't realize, but your muscles tighten, and you cringe, and your breathing changes, your heart beats, and all that stuff gets locked in your body. The very pattern that you're trying to resist becomes locked in your body. And we got all this old emotional stuff and thoughts and feelings and things that have happened to us locked inside our nervous system and our musculature of our body and in the cells of our body. And that stuff stays with us in their patterns, and they become blocks, and they become filters that make us see things different. And remember I said it's a projection, and we're the projector. Well, the meditation and yoga slowly refines the nervous system, and it clears us out, and it takes away all them blocks and clears them things out so that we can start seeing life clearly as it is, and it allows us to get to know ourselves. I'll talk about it more later, but we're not just our thoughts and feelings. We're our body and our feelings are where it's all at. We don't recognize our body as our connection to the spiritual, because it's where our feelings are at. It's where our feelings start. And so what I say here is, I want to teach self-love, and self-love ain't thinking about yourself or saying I like myself. Self-love's like accepting your feelings for whatever they are. If you're having a bad day, don't try to figure them out or try to change them. Feelings are energy. Everything's energy, but feelings are energy. And if you let them, by natural law, universal law, if you let energy run its cycle, eventually it dissipates and it loses energy. And you do that enough times, eventually you make a big effect on that, and you can even dissipate that energy to a level where it doesn't affect you, and you don't even notice it no more. That's what healing's about. So if you could sit there through your feelings and just let them be what they are. If you're having a bad day and you don't feel good, don't try to figure it out or change it. Just accept it. That's what self-love is. If you say you unconditionally love someone else, you accept them for who they are, no matter what they do. Well, that's what unconditional love to ourselves is. We accept our thoughts. Well, not our thoughts, but our feelings and how we're feeling, no matter what they are. It's tolerance. And eventually those feelings are allowed to run their course, and they lose energy, and they dissipate, and you keep doing that, and that's how you heal and come into balance. Those feelings lose their energy, and they go away, and they become balanced out. And nothing goes away. It becomes integrated. And when it becomes integrated to a level where it's not so powerful, it's not disturbing to us anymore, and it's not a problem anymore, and it becomes in a balance. Wholeness ain't getting rid of things. Wholeness is taking the bad parts of ourselves and the things we don't like and integrating them into balance with the things we do like. And another thing I want to talk about a lot is the shadow. We all have one. If you ask ourselves at people, they'll say, yeah, I'm a pretty good guy, but they never really take the time to look at ourselves. If we're honest with ourselves, we're all envious at times, jealous. Sometimes we just feel like being bratty toward people. It's just the way we are, and that's bad too, And we can sit and look at another man and say, oh, he's so bad, and look at his sins. But if you look at the word says that the Israelites stayed in the desert, in the wilderness for 40 years because they complained. Complaining complaining and jealousy and envy and little white lies and all the stuff we do. Sin is sin, man. It's all bad. So you start realizing that, you can look at yourself and realize, man, I'm not as great as I thought. And you don't beat yourself up or hate yourself. You just come into realization and you learn how to integrate it into yourself. All that stuff that is bad is still somewhere locked in me inside of my neural pathways and into my brain and stuff. But now that I'm aware of them, I've learned how to integrate them. And now I choose to feed the good side of myself, the good wolf, and not that bad wolf. And the more I feed the good wolf, the stronger it becomes. And the bad wolf doesn't come out to play. So it's learning how to integrate the bad parts of ourselves so that we can control it and so that we can keep it from coming out and doing whatever it wants, you know. When we're unaware of all that, or unaware of our shadow, or we don't know none of this stuff, I mean, geez, we're just kind of a victim to ourselves. Because, you know, as human beings, we're pretty impulsive and we're pretty dishonest with ourselves. We think we're pretty great and that we don't have nothing wrong with us. And we got a lot to work on, man. And that's what I'm talking about. I want to start working on some things that help get those blocks out of us and those old patterns. And if you have panic attacks, I want to talk about that a lot in the future and stuff. And I got a lot of things I want to discuss, and I'm open. I want you to contact me. And if you want to be a part of this, I welcome that, because I can't do this alone. I have no experience in making videos. I have no experience in media. No experience as a social worker. So I mean, anybody that can help me, I'm ready to learn, and we can be a part of this. And also, I downloaded podcasters on Spotify for podcasters, and I'd like to make a little podcast about this kind of stuff. And my whole overall theme is recovery, and recovery is not just drugs and alcohol. Recovery is from toxic emotions, behaviors that don't serve us well. It could be anything. Eating disorders. I've had one of those. I've been a binge eater before. Panic attacks. Anything. So recovery is important. Another thing is, I want to talk about the system and why it's broken. But we're broken too, because we keep going back, and it's our own behaviors, and we get caught up in that. And a lot of people can't find their way out. And I think that it all starts on not blaming everything else, but getting real with yourself and changing that, whatever's getting you to go back. And some people figure it out when they're younger. It took me a long time to learn this. And I always dabbled with drugs when I got out, and I'd piss hot UAs and always go back. And you know, when I start using drugs, that shadow side pops up. I start having to be sneakier, and I start avoiding people that I don't want to talk to or ain't involved in my little addiction, and just all that little stuff comes up, and that's the side that I'm suppressing, man. I'm just not going to let it come out to play, and I'm feeding this good side, like this project I'm doing right here and stuff. And even if nobody ever gets interested, I guess what I'm going to do is just have this for someday for my own viewing and stuff. I can't have children, so they'll never see it, but biologically I can't have children. But I hope that people get interested. And man, there's some dark times out there. It's changed a lot since I was younger. And when I started doing drugs, it was a different era. I go take the bus and ride my bike to work because I'm in a halfway house. So I usually see the bus stops. There's people smoking tin foils of fentanyl and smoking bubbles of meth right out in the open, like they don't even care. And the police don't care anymore. It's almost been decriminalized. So I don't know what to think. But I also see a lot of people that they're not having that much fun. They're down and out, you know. Being homeless and not having nowhere to go. I don't care how many drugs you do. That sucks. And they're stuck in a hole, and some of them were okay with that, but some of them are at the bottom and one out. And that's another thing I found out in life is when you hit the bottom, it sucks bad enough and hurts bad enough where you have no choice but to dig your way out. And then when you get out, you see life in a different way, and you realize how great life is. So hitting the bottom could be a great thing. My life's been hard because of my own making, but the prison in and out was tolerable, I guess, because I kept going back. So it wasn't so painful that I didn't do nothing about, that I didn't do what I needed to do. And finally, panic attacks happened. I was on a DOC transport bus, and it was a winter day, and they had the heat on full blast. I mean, it was hot in there, and I had a sweatshirt on and a thermal and green DOC shirt and a t-shirt because I thought it was going to be cold. And I was sitting between two guys and I was handcuffed, and all of a sudden I realized how hot it was. Well, you're cuffed up and all tight, and I couldn't get my shirt off, and I started getting uncomfortable and moving around, and I just felt panicky, and I got real claustrophobic, and I freaked out. And it was so loud in that bus that I stood up between those guys and I yelled, "Help!" And nobody even noticed that I yelled help. They just kept talking to their homies and stuff, and I freaked out, and I just sat there, and I was just shaken up. I mean, to the core. It scared me in a way that nothing ever has. And then I was scared that was going to happen again, so I had to take a DOC transport to another facility about 2 weeks later. It took them an hour and a half to get me on the bus. I made them promise that they would keep the temperature low, and that I could sit in front so I could watch they had a temperature gauge to make sure it stayed at 68, and everyone was freezing, and everyone was griping, saying, "Man, it's freezing in here." And little did they know it was because of me. But then after that, for years and years, whenever I go to jail, man, it might be a year before my court was done, and I had to go back to prison, but I would lay there the whole time, and I would think about I'd think about the future bus ride, and it would just cause me to almost feel like I was going to have another panic attack, and I just worried like that for years. Or anytime I get in a hot place or uncomfortable, it triggers that panic and anxiety still, but I got it under control pretty good now. But I lived like that for a lot of years, just in a state of continual fear, a survival mode, and this motivated me to change. And now that I've experienced this, I'm glad I hit bottom, because I'm going to tell you why. Because if I wouldn't have hit bottom, I wouldn't have done the work that I done. And a lot of people go through life. Everybody struggles, but a lot of people's life ain't so painful that they just learn to tolerate it, and they just live a real mediocre, crappy life sometimes because they become comfortable in their pattern of life. And I'm glad that I was able to have this panic attack, I guess. I wouldn't wish it on my enemy, but I'm glad it happened, because it did the changes I needed to do. It caused me to go to the library, and I started looking at books that I never looked at before, because prison libraries are pretty good. I found a book on Buddhist meditations and relaxation exercises. I would have never looked at that before. I was a Christian, and I was real dogma, but I was so desperate because of these panic attacks. Like I said, it broke me loose of old beliefs and stuff. I mean, this really got me out of my shell. And I found a meditation that talked about breathing in the light, and you feel the nectar releasing and healing you and relaxing you. And for the first time in my life ever, I got in a state of relaxation, and I let go, and it felt so good. It was like I was floating on a cloud. And I just remember letting go, and I thought I heard a woman's voice in digital say, "It's spiritual." And it was so real. I remember jumping up and telling my cellie, "Hey man, what did you just say?" And he said, "I didn't say nothing," and I really believed he was messing with me, and we got in a heated argument over it. And I was just like, later on I realized what it was. And after that I started having all these synchronicities, and I was led to the right books, the right information. I would start seeing things that I can't explain it. Not seeing weird things, but seeing like a lot of synchronicities and coincidences, and just things. And for the first year and a half, it was real intense. It's slowly, I've leveled out a lot more. I still know I'm in the process, but when it's new, everything's novel, and it's just real powerful, and it kept me motivated. And I might not have kept meditating and doing yoga, because sometimes it gets a little, it can get stale, but the need to kill that panic has kept me going for years and years and years, 11 years. Last couple of years it's gotten tougher because that panic's healed, so I don't even worry about that when I meditate. But for about 9 years, I would meditate with the thought of every breath I was healing my anxiety. And sure, it did. It did heal my anxiety a lot. But the thing is, it also brought all kinds of other fruit. It dissolved my ego a lot. My ego, I'm humble now, and I'm okay with that. And I feel good about myself, and I have good self-esteem, and I care about people. And like I was telling you earlier about tolerating your feelings and letting them be what they are, we do that in meditation. When you're just sitting there, you're letting whatever comes up, those thoughts and feelings. And remember, a thought comes from a feeling. When you have a feeling, it causes you to think things and see things the way they are. And so what you're doing is allowing them feelings to come up, and we'll talk about this more later. So the thing is when you do that, what you're doing is you're tolerating yourself. You're being tolerant. You're loving yourself. Just like how you'd be tolerant towards someone else and loving someone else. When you be tolerant towards yourself, you'd be surprised how much yourself appreciates it and loves it and starts working with you, and it starts this circle, and it's just beautiful. And when you start being tolerant to yourself, it's weird how it works, man. As above, so below, within, without, whatever. When you start being tolerant of yourself, you'll start just naturally being more tolerant in other people. It's just the way it works, you know, and because we're the projector. I mean, so you get more tolerant with yourself, you project that on everything else. So I'm just making this video to start, and I don't know how to do this. If anyone has any advice how I can make better videos, how I can plan them out, what I want to talk about and stuff, and I'm going to try to figure out what I want to talk about next time and keep it, you know, a little bit more the range of, so I ain't so sporadic. And this is a process I want to learn, and I'm learning just doing this. And you know, it'd be easy for me to sit and keep going yeah, I'm going to do it when this happens and wanting the perfect time. But I seen this guy on TikTok, and he makes the most wonderful videos, and I kept telling him, what should I do? And he goes, you know how you get started? And I said, how? And he goes, just do it. So here I am, I'm just doing it. It ain't going to be perfect. It don't have to be perfect. I'm going to release my expectations. If nobody ever watches, well, I guess that's the way it is. But if people do watch and they got any feedback or anything, I welcome it. And I'd like to start a podcast, and I'd like to get a project going. If you have any ideas of what we could call it, any ideas of what we could be about and do, I just want to do positive things in the world, man. And you know, I realize whatever you respect will respect you back. I got this thing when I go around town. They have this company called Lime, and Lime has these electric bikes and scooters, and they post them all over. Lyft has scooters, and for some reason at night, the homeless people or whoever go around, they just throw them on the ground. So anytime I see one on the ground, I go and pick it up and put it on its kickstand, or I pick up trash, or I don't litter, and I feed the birds, and I do this stuff. What I'm doing is, by being kind in my community will be kind to me. And I've already seen some things, you know, it comes back. I believe that, you know. And I just want to have a positive shift in life. These are good times to do it, because man, if there's ever been a weird time in life, I ain't saying it's the end days, but I know we're going through some kind of shift. I mean, things are getting really bizarre and weird. And with artificial intelligence, you got Elon Musk talking about putting little electrodes behind our ears and hooking us up to the system. And you know, there's going to be a lot of changes, and we all know that things are bad out there. And if you don't do good and you ain't conscious of it, you'll become a part of the bad in one way or another. And I don't know, man. Everybody have a good day. And if you watch this, thank you for listening. And if you got any advice how I can make better videos on how I could keep myself more organized. That's another thing. I got bad ADHD, and I'm real impulsive, but and that's gotten better in my life, you know. And if you got anything you can contribute, please do. And I love to give credit where it's due, and I'll give you your credit, man. I'll give you your props, and be proud to do that. And I know there's a lot of good people out there that have a lot to offer me, and I welcome it, you know. And if I have anything I can help you with, I'm here. If you need someone to talk to, and it takes 2 hours, I'll listen to you without judging you or whatever, man. If you want to talk about something, we can talk, man. I don't care what it is. I don't care who you are or what you've done, man. We all, in the Bible it says, who are you to judge another man's slave? And he's talking about God and his relationship with us. So who am I to judge God's creation and his relationship, whatever he's got going on? That's not my business. My business is just to be good to other people. And God says he doesn't want you to sacrifice. You know what he wants? Oh, he wants mercy. God wants you to be merciful. And man, be merciful to yourself too. Let your feelings be what they are. And if you're laying there and you feel depressed, or you're having feelings you don't understand, you don't know how to get better, I think I got a way that we can work with this. I think I got a way that I can help bring you up out of them feelings. And if anybody needs to talk, let me know, message me, and we'll talk. Thank you for your time, and everybody have a good day. God bless you.